In 1793, in the small rural town of Wildbad in the Holy Roman Empire, a series of deaths took place that would shake the entire community and alter the course of medical history. In all, 13 people would fall gravely ill with an unknown foodborne illness that proved fatal in half of them. The inquiry that followed sparked intense research that culminated in one of the most popular treatments in plastic surgery. The outbreak in Wildbad joined a growing list of similar tragedies in the region, claiming the lives of dozens of otherwise healthy people. The illness began abruptly, first with nausea and vomiting after a shared meal. Within hours, victims developed double vision, intense dryness of the mouth, and a growing difficulty swallowing. As the paralysis advanced, they lost the ability to move their face, speak, or walk, and their bladder and bowels ceased to function. Those who survived for days remained desperately thirsty and hungry, yet every attempt to swallow triggered violent choking due to aspiration. In the final stages, vision faded and breathing slowed until it stopped, but consciousness was spared, leaving patients fully aware as their bodies fell silent. Physicians felt powerless, and the treatments of the time, which included bloodletting, enemas, and therapeutic baths, offered no relief and often hastened the decline. It was at this point that a young physician, Justinus Kerner, serving as district medical officer, stepped in, determined to investigate these recurring poisonings. Kerner carefully documented every detail of each individual's account, including time of ingestion, symptom onset, and autopsy findings. He soon recognized that the culprit lay in sausages, particularly Blunson, a type of blood sausage that had been improperly prepared. From this discovery came the term botulism, meaning sausage poisoning, to describe the illness. Kerner then extracted material from contaminated sausages and tested it on a variety of animals. In nearly every case, the toxin proved fatal within hours to days. Then, in an extreme act of scientific experimentation, Kerner tested the toxin on his tongue, noting severe dry mouth and imbalance that lasted for days. Through these investigations, he concluded that the mysterious agent was a potent biological neurotoxin. He then compiled a list of supportive therapies tied to survival and published his findings. At the end of his work, Kerner predicted that the deadly agent could have numerous possible therapeutic applications if used in small doses. However, as germ theory had not yet been elucidated, he was unaware that the toxin was the product of a microorganism. It wasn't until 1895, following a deadly botulism outbreak in Ellezelle, Belgium, that Emile van Ermengem, a microbiologist at the University of Ghent, would identify the bacterium Clostridium botulinum as the causative organism behind botulism. 54 years later, Arnold Bergen and colleagues demonstrated that botulinum acted on nerve terminals to suppress acetylcholine release, causing a neuromuscular blockade. The intense research that followed opened the path to therapeutic trials, first spearheaded by American physician-scientist Alan B. Scott. Scott saw the potential of botulinum for the treatment of strabismus, or crossed eyes in humans, publishing his successful experiments on rhesus monkeys in 1973. In 1979, 150 years after Kerner's original publication, Scott performed the first injection of purified botulinum into humans, with successful outcomes. A decade later, botulinum would receive its first FDA approval, officially marking the entry of the drug into the market. Almost immediately, the cosmetic benefits of the product were explored, first for the treatment of facial asymmetry, and then successfully applied to the treatment of frown lines. The explosive growth that followed resulted in more than a dozen medical and aesthetic indications across 100 countries, with botulinum hailed as a miracle drug. The remarkable therapeutic journey of botulinum traces its origins to Kerner's insight and the enduring spirit of discovery carried forward by the pioneers of plastic surgery. To learn more about this story, visit Pioneers of Plastic Surgery on Substack.